think it's not so many years ago that people thought faith had had its day and was on the way out. So I think that's been proved to be decisively wrong.
Coming together like this and hearing each other from different faith traditions and hearing the common notion that we all strive for peace is quite significant.
The great thing about coming to something like this is you get inspired by it. Frankly, I go away from it with a new sense of purpose. It's been brilliant.
I thought it was fantastic. The idea that so many different religions can come together under one roof to discuss how we can enhance the faith and how we can get people to live together as one, get rid of all the problems in the world.
And there's a very, very clear message to me this evening, and that is that all of the religions, one, can sit down and talk together, and when you hear them speak about their own particular religion, the message is very, very similar. The beliefs are very, very similar, and the one unifying aspect is God.
What I liked the most was where the statement was made about defining yourself with your own values and not by what you don't like in other people. And from that, what you get is the richness of oneness, where one people, one humanity, one set of values, care, neighbourliness, about care for one another. And that's what defines us all. So in that way, if we're looking for peace and tranquility and helping one another out in the world, I think that's really good.
This is good. This has to be the way forward because all of us who believe in God cannot believe that God would have intended us to be killing each other in the name of one religion or another. That is not the future intended by the Almighty for humanity. So I strongly support the message of peace.
As I chair the all-party parliamentary group for international religious freedom, it's about how progressive the community is in terms of protecting the rights of others, and that's what he was drawing on in his speech. We're delighted to have the support of the community for the work we're doing. We know that the community enjoys religious freedom here, but particularly in Pakistan, Indonesia, Bangladesh, there are many people suffering, so that's why we are very pleased to have him on board with the parliamentary work to raise the profile of international religious freedom.
I think, as His Holiness said, the core truths of all the major religious faiths are universal: love and tolerance and peace. And I think actually there is so much in the media that would seek to portray religious people as at odds with one another, when in fact I think, as we see here tonight, the reality is very different.
The message of the Khalifa was a message of peace, understanding, message that all the religions of the world have to speak to each other. We are all the descendants of Adam that was created by God, and therefore we are all brothers. And as brothers and cousins, we have to treat each other in such a way of understanding and peace, not to confront each other, not to have fight in the world, but to try to do as much as we can to work and pursue peace.
A person of true leadership. I only saw him for a few minutes, but I was instantly impressed, as I say, by the genuineness of the charm that he radiates.
I think really what the Khalifa Sahib was explaining to us is that we have a lot of things in common. You know, all the world religions, they're teaching the same thing, and we have to recognize the humanity which is in all of us. And rather than trying to look for differences, look for reasons to get into disputes, and we should work together and we should work for each other's benefit. And at all times, we should recognize that we are all children of God. And I think that's what Khalifa Sahib was trying to explain, that ultimately it is God that we're answerable to, and it's his work and his message that we should be trying to carry out, as good humans on the earth.
The Caliph's very important message at the end, that we should join hands and work together for peace. And I think that is what the world needs today. So that was why I come, and I hope to bring it back to Norway and to the Ahmadiyya movement in Oslo, where I'm living, who is very important for this also in Norway.
What I found impressive is that he very eloquently showed how the very message of Islam, the very message of the Quran is not about violence, but it's about peace. And I think that's That's what he explained very, very elaborately, and I think that's important. It's a very important message.
And one of the things that I've admired about the Ahmadis is the fact that their central tenet is love for all and hatred for none, and I think that's something which I think is a universal message, and the more all faiths can get together, the better.
And that is the important thing, I believe, of Ahmadiyya, that they put emphasis on the love. I am, as a Christian minister, I can say, in the Gospel of Matthew, you read that Jesus said there is only one commandment. Love God with all your heart, your soul and your mind. And a second commandment I give you, love your neighbor as yourself. And actually that's the same. If you do not love your neighbor, you don't love God. If you don't love God, you're not going to really love your neighbor.